Hi, I'm Mark Wybrow, and this is the Electronic Cafe, the channel for the lovers of electronic music.
And I'm Andy McNabb, so let's get started. And you were at Rough Trade, right? When it was a record label, not the stalls that we know.
Yeah. It was both, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a second incarnation of Rough Trade when I worked there.
Yeah, and you managed some quite cool bands there, didn't you? Or got involved with a few.
Yeah, I was head of international for Rough Trade, so and I got that job because Elizabeth had after Mezzanine, she had a bit of a writer's block, and I'd fallen out with Alison Gold, Alison Goldfrapp and I had went separate ways, and so I was kind of twiddling my thumbs really, and I didn't have any, and so I phoned Jeff Travis and said, "If you get anything I could do," because Elizabeth had signed to Blanco Negro. Yeah. For her so-called for her solo record that still hasn't seen the light of day, and so he said, "Give me 2 weeks." So and 2 weeks later, he was good as his word. He phoned me up and he said, "Can you come in and see me?" And I said, "Yeah, of course." And so I jumped in the car, went to see him, and I went into his little office, and he said, "You know everybody here. Everybody here really likes you." He said, "Have you ever done international before?" And I went, "Nope." And he said, "Do you want to do it?" And I said, "I'd love to." And he said, "Here's a notepad and a computer. You can get started." I had a blank canvas, and so I had to learn how to structure, agreements and find distribution people in Europe, and then Rough Trade signed a deal with Sanctuary Records. And so I worked with an amazing guy called Nick Church, who was head of their international sales. And between me and him, we built this network of distribution, a distribution network globally. And I'd had an amazing time, and I was lucky enough to work with, the Libertines. I worked not so closely with Strokes. I only had them for Ireland, but we did 2 platinum records in Ireland. Nice. And worked with Sufjan Stevens and Anthony and the Joe. I worked quite closely with Anthony Heggie, and so that was quite. It was a really exciting time. So I was.
Sorry, mate. Wasn't there a story about Anthony John where he sent you a tape or something, and the fact?
Yeah, when I was at 4AD, I was doing negative A&R, and he'd sent me a demo tape, and I really wasn't interested in signing anything at that time, and I was just to document everything and send it all back, but send it with a nice letter. But apparently, I'd handwritten something at the bottom of it, and he kept the rejection letter. And so
we might have one of your letters somewhere.
No, the Farrar one says something completely different. It wasn't as nice. It wasn't handwritten either.
So he said it was very complimentary, and and very, he was really touched that I'd actually taken the time to handwrite underneath the
Yeah.
the bit. So that was really nice.
Did you get to hang out with the Mary Chain and?
Yeah, well, I used to roadie for the Mary Chain.
Right.
But that was a handful, wasn't it?
No, not really. Not really. The Mary Chain, when I heard Upside Down, the two, like when I went to see Birthday Party in Edinburgh, that changed my life. I'd never seen anything like that before. It was like the energy that Nick Cave and the Birthday Party had was just incredible, really incredible. And then Upside Down was an incredible single, and they played the old ambulance station, which was a squat gig in Old Kent Road, and that gig was extraordinary as well. They came on 2.5 hours late, and Jim basically just screamed, "You're all a bunch of fucking cunts" for 7 minutes, and then there was a riot, and then they were finished, and they got signed to Blanco and Negro the next day.
Hand in hand in a violent life, making love on the edge of a knife, and the world comes tumbling down, and it's hard for me to say, and it's hard for me to stay. I'm going down.
That's what you needed to do.
God, times have changed, right? Imagine Gary Barlow doing that. Different times.
But I loved working with the Mary Chain. They weren't any trouble really. They were, they wanted to be a great rock and roll band, and I thought they were a great rock and roll band. Yeah. I was talking to my friend Glenn about this. At that time, you kind of felt like you just were going around any street corner, and there was just talent, just oozing out of everywhere, and there was so many.
Algorithms don't find that. They don't walk around. They don't go to gigs. They don't see bands. They don't get a feeling for anything. It's just it's just a binary code, just black and white, yes or no.
Exactly.
I mean, you've been quite lucky, Colin. Incredible life that you've worked with Ivo at 4AD and Jeff Travis at Rough Trade. Two, I don't know if Mavericks is the right word, but certainly iconic people in the music industry.
Mark, I would definitely call them Mavericks. I would call all that generation, like Ivo, Jeff, Daniel Miller, and Derek Burkett. They were all total Mavericks. And everybody in those days was kind of helping each other because there was the strength of independence, because we all had one common enemy. Well, not enemy in inverted commas, there was the majors, and because the majors had this, it was almost like payola. It was difficult to get on the radio apart from John Peel. So we all were trying to break down this barrier so that independent music could be heard. And there was the indie charts on the 4A and NME, and that was really exciting because that was our chart, and so it was absolutely you kind of looked to see, but you were selling a lot of records in those days as well. You to even get in the indie charts, you were selling a lot of records.
There's a couple of good books, isn't there? There's the How Soon Is Now, which is the madmen and mavericks of the indie record scene, which I think you're mentioned in that book. And Ivo and Daniel and all those other people. Yeah. And then there's the 4AD one, facing the other way, the 4AD one, which I haven't read.
I haven't read it either. I don't really want to read it.
Why is that? I mean, when we spoke before, you mentioned that you'd spoken to Ivo, and neither of you can listen to the 4AD music anymore. I mean, I can kind of understand it that there was so much emotion and so much invested in it in that time. Is that the reason why you?
Yeah, it's basically that, because you invested your life and soul into it. So from inception to right through to recorded, and the packaging, the amazing Vaughan Oliver, all the packaging and all of that kind of stuff. And so you were living that record from day one. And then you would go, you watch all the gigs and the tours and stuff like that. So you were it was such an intense period, but a really, really enjoyable period as well.
Yeah.
And it was, it's just difficult for me to I can't really choose to go and listen to that. Though, as much as I still love that, and I was proud to be part of it, I can't. It's difficult for me to listen to it without different kind of memories coming back to me.
Yeah, I understand.
I mean, the 4AD and Rough Trade. I mean, there's just such a massive legacy.
Yeah.
With those labels, and
yeah,
you formed a big part of that legacy. I mean, have you spoken to Ivo at all? I mean, is he fine?
Yeah, we sort of email each other and talk quite often as well. He lives in New Mexico, and but during the first lockdown, he was telling me he was listening to a lot of stuff from his early when he was a teenager, basically, and he was listening to stuff that John Peel used to play on the Perfume Garden, which was his Saturday lunchtime show. Which
right.
So he sent me some stuff, because he was a big part of my musical education. The Mortal Coil stuff, like and Song of the Siren. None of us knew the fuck Tim Buckley was, and so he was a big part of that. But so during the first lockdown, he sent me Nils Lofgren Grin record, which I thought was really good.
Yeah.
Some Fleetwood Mac stuff, which was post Peter Green and pre the Rumours stuff. So it was the stuff with the two guitarists that kind of both had meltdowns as well.
Right.
And that stuff was just absolutely brilliant. I was shocked how good it was. And he sent me the two Pretty Things albums that were recorded at Abbey Road in 1968, 69, same time as the Beatles, or 67, same time as the Beatles were in there, and somebody else was in there as well. So so I said, you tell me who was copying who.
Don't be down between the sunrise and sunset. You're down, no panicky, and all the rainy day. Racing around on the turf. You could be raising money with your money. You might be showing your round address with cake. Take it close to that and buy.
Okay, let's narrow it down a bit. What's your favourite 4AD record?
Oh, good question.
Probably Prayers on Fire. Birthday Party.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, there's some great records on there. Pixies on there.
Yeah. I mean, there's Come On Pilgrims, a fucking brilliant record.
Yeah.
Brilliant record.
Is there one gig in your life that, forget who it is, I mean, was there one gig you thought this is the greatest music night in terms of, is there one gig that stood out for you? Because I've been to thousands of gigs, and like you, I probably struggled, but I was fortunate enough to see David Byrne about a year and a half ago, and for me, that just ticked every box in terms of music.
Well, interestingly, when I seen Daft Punk in Barcelona.
Wow.
But then I found out, and I don't know if this is true, but I just think it's brilliant, even if it's not true, that Daft Punk, because they never took those helmets off, apparently they sent two of their mates round the world with a DAT, and that's how they played around the world in those gigs. I just hope that is true, because they were getting paid $1 million a night or something for doing these gigs. There was this pyramid with these two heads at the top of it. So it could have been anybody. And I really hope it was two of the mates with that tape. But that was a great gig. But, you know, I've seen Dylan a few times, which blew me away. Last time I seen Dylan was like watching God on stage. It was just unbelievably brilliant. I mean, I couldn't understand a word he was singing, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter because he was just awesome. You know, there's a couple of Libertines gigs that were just probably a couple of the best gigs I've ever seen. Some of the Cocteau Twins gigs were some of the best gigs I've ever seen. Mary Chain gigs.
Yeah.
You know, seeing the birthday party in Edinburgh was one of the.
Well, you said the impact they had on you.
Yeah,
that was like,
you know, I worked with the Fall on two tours, and that was really good. And the Fall, when the Fall were on fire, they were fucking hell. Nobody could touch the Fall.
What was Marquis Smith like?
I loved Mark. You know, he's just a contrary. He just lived to be contrary. He was just brilliant. I loved him. But he was, you know, he had a work ethic about him, which I really admired. And
yeah, such a swagger, then in a style.
There were some funny stories when he died of people that told Marquis Smith stories, and he sacked one of his guitarists because he ordered a sandwich once for him.
Yeah.
I lost the music, caught in a trap, no looking back, let my head inside like trauma. The brick house refurbishment, a pumps in the highway, I heard a voice say.
We played a gig. I don't know whether it was in Southend, a venue called the Pink Toothbrush or somewhere like that.
Oh, that's in Rayleigh.
Yeah. Well, we did a gig there, which was just one of the fucking strangest gigs ever. And the hotel, I just remember in the morning opening the curtains, and there was a fucking Spitfire or something outside. I don't know where that. I can't eat. So it was in a place called Rayleigh, was it?
Yeah.
But that gig, because I think that tour, we started off with 56 grams of speed, and after a week it was all gone, and it was just a speed amphetamine fueled tour, which it was during the time of Ben Sinister or This Nation Saving Grace. When This Nation Saving Grace is one of the best Fall records ever, I think.
Yeah,
it's a really brilliant record. And they had two drummers, Stephen Hanley, his brother, and Carl Burns, and they were playing. I wonder why they were playing too fast, but they were playing too fast. And Mark had a beer bottle, and he was just like hitting cymbals, going slow down, and the gig was incredible, absolutely incredible. But then I seen them play. I was working with them when they played in Stoke-on-Trent. You know that football thing that they say about wet Wednesday night in Stoke. Well, we played in Stoke on a wet Wednesday night, and the band really couldn't be arsed. And during the encore, Mark went round them and he said, "You fucking might not want to play in a fucking wet Wednesday night in Stoke, but these fucking people have paid money to come and see you cunts. So you better fucking step up to the mark or you're not getting paid."
Yeah, fair point.
The encores were they were blinding, really blinding.
Yeah, it's a fair point though.
He's got.
So he had an amazing work ethic, and he only told me off once because I didn't put petrol in the. We played in Rill in North Wales, and I forgot to put petrol in the van. So after the gig, I went to put petrol in the van. And he went, "Don't ever do that again. You'd all day to get petrol in the van," and he was quite right. So so that was the only mistake I ever made, Mark.
Yeah,
and he told me, not to do it again, and that was it, really. But I got on really, really well with Mark. And I was the first person to play Marquis Smith Psycho Candy, and he really liked it.
Right, okay, yeah.
Really liked it. So, yeah, he was unique.
He was.
He had a lot of questionable politics. A lot of questionable politics, but I love The Fall.
I mean, you've got a massive legacy. The stories you've got, have you ever thought about writing your own book?
Yeah, well, people have asked me about doing that, but as you can tell, I jump around from year to year. I'm not very chronological, and I'd love to sit there. Somebody said to me, my next door neighbour is a script writer, and he's not a script writer, but he does adverts for. I think he works for Endelman. There's an big American advertising company, and he works for them. And I've told him some of my rock and roll stories, and he said, "Fucking yes," he said, "You should write a book." I said, "Well, I might get sued for all the things."
You can only get sued if it's not true, though, can't you?
Yeah, well, yeah. But,
I mean, you don't have to be chronological. I mean, you could just go band by band and just have like either a long or a short paragraph or a few sentences or.
Yeah, but the 4AD work. I come from a small industrial town in Grangemouth. I was lucky enough that 3 of my friends formed a band that were really, really exciting, and they developed into one of the most important indie bands.
Without doubt.
Without a doubt. One of my favourite, I mean, you gave me my top 20 bands of all time, they would be in that list, and it might change, but they would be a permanent fixture in it for me.
But without dwelling on just the Cocteau Twins, because Colin, this is fantastic, all the stories you've got, but Cocteau Twins are one of those bands where when I first heard the Cocteau Twins, I thought, what the fuck? Just because that guitar sound, the drum machine for some of the stuff, and just her vocals, it was just a mix that I'd never heard before. Yeah. And we've got the Electronic Cafe Facebook group, and people talk about the Heaven of Las Vegas or Cocteau Twins in such high esteem that they still, some bands have their moment and they go, but Cocteau Twins, I think it's always there. Generations are finding them, and it's unique. And
the whole thing about the Cocteau Twins right through the 4AD thing was about the love between Robin and Liz. That's the whole premise of what the Cocteau Twins are about, because they were so in love with each other, and it culminated in Heaven of Las Vegas when Lucy Bell was born, and Heaven of Las Vegas is about the birth of their child Lucy Bell and stuff like that. And it's a brilliant record for that. But Bluebell Knoll is a fantastic record as well, really fantastic. But Robin said to me once, the Fontana records are all, he said, "Can you imagine, Colin, going around the fucking world and you're playing these fucking songs and she's just out there singing, Robin's a cunt, Robin's a cunt." So the Fontana stuff is about their breakup, basically. Because there's a song called Bluebeard, which is about Robin, I think.
Right.
So so the 4AD stuff, you can do it in 2 stages. All that stuff is about the growing love and the enduring love they had for each other, and then the Fontana stuff is about their breakup, and it was quite a painful breakup as well.
It's always difficult if you're in a professional relationship with the person as well, and
well, Robin didn't speak to me for a while when I helped her leave the Cocteau Twins, and because she phoned me and she said, Jane, you could help me, so I kind of helped her leave. And Robin and I had I was working at Rough Trade, and we had a stand-up row on the telephone about this was when they were going to reform, and it didn't happen, and with the stand-up row, and James Endicott, who was the A&R guy at Rough Trade, said, "Colin, are you all right?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm fine. That was just a proper Scottish argument." But Robin phoned me the next day to apologise, and because we've known each other too long.
Well, Colin, thanks for your time. It's brilliant. We could talk for hours, but
we could do a 10-hour episode, to be honest.
It's just it's fascinating to speak to you and to hear these stories, and especially as it's music that we love.
Well, I'm sorry it's not chronological.
The most important thing for me is it comes from the heart, and that's why it goes down so well and resonates. So it doesn't matter what order it's in. It's great. It's really good, mate.
I didn't even tell you about working with Sinead O'Connor.
No, all right. Tell us that one. Which
I loved working with Sinead, and Sinead and I never ever, I never had a problem with Sinead. She wrote an email to Derek Burke at One Little Indian, and she said that if there was anybody that she could come and just spend the afternoon and just playing records as a mate, she said, "I'd love to do that with Colin. He's just been brilliant for me." And I thought that was really nice that she did that as well. But my wife's favourite story about Sinead is we seen her at the Queen Elizabeth Hall, and I said to Audrey, "Do you want to come and meet Elizabeth? Come and meet Sinead?" And she said, "Oh, I don't know." And I said, "Oh, come on, we'll just go and say a quick hello." And so we went, and it was just, she was smoking a big joint, and so I said, "Oh, Sinead, this is Audrey." And she went, "Oh, I'm pleased to meet you." And Sinead looked at me and she said, "Is this your daughter?" And Audrey went, "Yes." I was like, "No, she's not my fucking daughter, she's my wife."
Well, her last two solo albums, I think, are brilliant. I think The Wolf Is Getting Married is a brilliant song.
Yeah.
And I remember listening to there's a track called Eight Good Reasons.
Right.
On I'm Not Bossy album, and I had it on my iPod on the way back from work, and I thought, this song is fucking brilliant, and I had it on rotation for my whole hour's journey back home, back to back.
Wow.
8 Good Reasons by Sinead O'Connor. It's a fantastic song.
Yeah.
It's on the album I'm Not Bossy, I'm the Boss. That
I got it on CD before I started going to vinyl.
Yeah.
You know I love to make music, but my head got wrecked by the business. Everybody wants something from me. They rarely ever want to just know me. I became the stranger no one sees. Cut glass, I've crawled upon my knees. But I got 8 good reasons to stick around.
But yeah, Colin, thanks again for your afternoon.
Mate,
Really appreciate that.
Yeah, Colin, cheers, buddy. And yeah, we'll, as soon as this lockdown's over, we'll go and have a few beers and a nice steak or something. It should be amazing.
Sounds great. I've still got to phone your mate as well about my record deck and all that. So
do you have a lot of vinyl?
Yeah, there's a cupboard just over there. They've been in there for like 15 years. So it's going to be like discovering new records from me. Because I haven't played them for ages. And there's a record in there that I really want to play, which is a KLF album that never got released.
Okay.
The band, it's a band record because there's so many samples on it. It's got like the Beatles sampled, ABBA sampled, Jimi Hendrix samples, everything that you would never get clearance on sampled on it. and
Wow.
it's brilliant. It's and it's a white label. So I got to the white label stage, and then they got all this. They got all these.
I bet you've got some proper gems in that cupboard, mate.
I have, yeah.
Yeah, I bet from your rough trade 4AD days.
I've got one-sided white labels of Sugar Hiccup, which was the radio program.
Yeah.
I think I've got about 6 or 7 of them as well.
You want to sell one?
Yeah.
I will buy one off you, mate.
I've also got the Lonely as an Eyesore wooden box, which apparently I don't know. Have you ever seen the wooden box?
No.
Let me show you.
I'd love to go in that cupboard, mate, wouldn't you? Just to see. I bet he's got some absolute belters. Oh, wow. Got it. That's so cool.
It's got the CD and it's got cassette, and it's also got limited edition.
That's so well packaged, isn't it?
Yeah.
How many of those were made, mate?
No, 100.
God, I bet that's worth an absolute fortune now.
Well, my friend reckons it's worth about 5,000 quid.
I do as well. I'll bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Because it's as rare as rocking all shit, and it's in mint condition. So
Yeah, I've never played it. I've never played it.
yeah, it'd easily be worth £5,000. Definitely.
Yeah, so I wanted to sell, and because I've got these gold and silver discs, I wanted to sell, but my wife was like, I want to put them up on the wall already.
I would definitely buy one of those. I would definitely, if you ever come across a disc you want to sell or a duplicate, give us a shot.
Mate, definitely, yeah, especially that Cocteau stuff. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't mug you off. I'll pay you a proper price for it. No,
Yeah,
that's if you want to sell it. So, you know, but if you do,
I've got 2 Cocteau Twin silver discs. So I've got to pump up the volume. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was on 4AD, wasn't they?
Yeah.
Mars.
Yeah.
that song was massive, wasn't it?
Yeah, it sold over 1 million.
I'm not surprised. It was everywhere I went. I heard it. And I remember that video as clear as crystal.
It was the first ever indie #1.
Yeah.
Pump up the volume, dance, dance.
Well, there's a space on my wall behind me, Colin. So if you...
And I've just done all my study downstairs, mate. And I've got all blank walls, seriously. So I'm putting up all my... So I've got some signed Bowie photos and Amy Winehouse and stuff like that I'm going to be putting up, which I can't wait to do. But yeah, honestly, mate, I know it's your personal stuff, but if you ever think, oh, actually, I've got enough that cup is that, and you want to sell it, I will. You tell me.
Well, actually, Andy, if he ever wants to sell it and I've refused it, then it comes to you. Okay?
I've got these signed records of it. Like we took Sonic Youth to see Neil Young, and
Wow.
yeah, and they'd never seen Neil Young before, and after it, I was telling them I was working with the Fall, and so I was working in the warehouse at 4AD at the time, and I got them all the Fall records, biked them over to One Little Indian. They sent me back a signed vinyl of Daydream Nation.
Wow.
And I've got a signed album, Kate Bush, as well, because my friend was doing her PR.
Did you see her, mate, when she did those 21 nights? Was you fortunate?
I went, yeah.
Oh, I was gutted. I tried. So I was working at a company called Rocket Fuel, and I literally moved a meeting back an hour so I could get on my phone and online for those 21 nights. And I'm just watching the tickets disappearing. I'm online, on the phone. No chance.
Well, I had some tickets in my basket. I was at work and I had a load of different screens open, and I had some tickets in my basket, and for some reason I thought, oh, do you know what? I can't be bothered, and I shut it down. And then I went straight back in. Nothing. It all gone.
Right.
Oh, now you tell me.
Yeah, I was part of the sort of fan club stroke.
Yeah.
And they got first dibs, so I got four tickets. And my friend flew over from New York because he phoned me like the next day. He said, "Oh, you going to go?" I said, "I've got 4 tickets," and he went, "Oh, really? Can I have one?" I said, "Of course you can." So he came over, and
Wow.
and then I had one spare, and I got in touch with Anthony. I said, "Do you want this ticket?" And he said, "Oh, I've already got one, but my friend's coming over from New York. Could he buy it off you?" And I said, "Yeah, of course he can."
How was it, mate? How was the night?
It was probably one of the best things I've ever seen in my life.
I'm so sick that I didn't see that.
Yeah.
And do you know, I've got friends in
if you're going to edit that, and that's probably the
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
I would have given a decent. I won't say how much because my wife might watch this episode, but you know, I would have. Actually, I will because I would have given £1,000 for that ticket just to see her totally because she's my favourite female artist. Period.
It was a 4 or 5 hour show, and it was
wow, really?
I didn't realise it was that long, but I mean, I know it was kind of very theatrical, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was a half-hour interval as well, and you know, it was just extraordinary, the whole thing. And she never, you know, I mean, she's 50. At that time, she was 56 years old or something like that. So
yeah,
and her stamina, I thought, was really brilliant.
It's funny when you see all these bands now. Like I've seen, you know, Mark and I've seen Heaven 17, OMD. And they're all in their 60s now, but there's some of them. I mean, Newman sounds better now than he did when I first saw him. He's never had the best voice to some people, and I understand why. He's got his own voice without a doubt. But it's live, he's stronger than it was when I first saw him. He's just really nailed it. And he gets better the more I see him. And he's 61 now, something like that, 62.
Yeah.
And he's
I heard him getting interviewed on Nihal's Radio 5 show about his book. And
yes.
He said he had a ghostwriter write the book, and then he said he wasn't happy with it, so he scrapped it, and then he wrote it all himself.
Yeah, I've got a copy.
And apparently it's really, really good.
Yeah, I've met him. He's a lovely guy. Very, what's the word? Painfully shy.
He said he's always been like that his entire life.
Yeah, you could see it. But a great guy, you know.
But I know a producer guy that works with him quite a lot, a guy called Andy Gray.
Yeah, I've seen his name on.
Yeah, he used to work with Paul Oakenfold as well. And they co-wrote the Big Brother theme together as well. And so Andy told me that he's a really lovely guy to work with.
Yeah. Well, see, we told you we could talk. Sinead O'Connor, Kate Bush, Gary Newman. It's brilliant.
I totally forgot to mention Kate Bush is, one of my favourite artists ever.
Me too.
From when first heard Wuthering Heights, that first album, I went to Glasgow and queued up for hours to get the album signed. I was so shy, I couldn't even talk to her when I got to the front of the line. I just got it signed and then left. I've got 2 signed Kate Bush records.
Nice.
You're doing it on purpose now, aren't you?
Yeah, he's just trying to get us to outbid each other, mate. That's all it is. It's all a trap.
There's always like I've got 2 of these and 5 of these, 6 of these.
I'm keeping one, boy. So fight amongst yourselves.
But anyway, thank you, Colin. It's brilliant. Good luck with your turntable and the amount of vinyl you suddenly decide to need to buy.
Yeah,
and don't forget when you need to sell.
It's a slippery slope once you get a new turntable.
I know. I've heard, and I walk past the Olympic Studios. As now a cinema, and they've got a new record shop, and they change the window every week, and I'm like, I can't believe how much records are nowadays.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, they are. And you know what annoys me actually, and Mark's heard me say it. So when vinyl started really becoming big again in the last 5 years or so, you got a free download voucher with every single copy. So you just rip it to your Mac or your PC, put it on your MP3 player. I've noticed less and less. There's less and less downloads. So you spend, as you say, 25, 30 quid for an album, and then you've got to spend another 7 quid on iTunes if you want to download it.
I know.
It's
Those bastard record companies again, isn't it?
Yeah, and the damn algorithms.
Everyone got rid of their vinyl, rebought on CD, and now everyone's rebuying them again on vinyl.
You're talking about me?
Well,
I did fall down that slippery slope.
Predominantly you, yeah.
Yeah.
Cheers, Colin. Thanks very much, mate.
Cheers. Have a good evening.
Got killed by 10 million pounds of sludge from New York and New Jersey.
This one is one to heaven.
hope you enjoyed that brilliant interview with Colin. What a top guy, amazing stories, fascinating guy, and become a true friend of Mark and I's and the Electronic Cafe. So, Colin, thank you, mate, for taking the time out to chat to Mark and I. We thoroughly enjoyed it, and hope to see you again. But also, I hope that everyone that watches this episode really appreciates just how incredible the Cocteau twins are and were. Just one of the greatest bands for many people. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Mark and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Electronic Cafe, and look out for that amazing interview we've got coming up with the fabulous Jennifer Touch. See you all soon. Stay safe and take care. Bye-bye for now.
Stay safe, take care, and thanks for watching the Electronic Cafe. We'll see you again soon.